In Xanadu, where Kubla Khan a stately pleasure dome decree, where Alph the sacred river ran through caverns measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. Yes, Xanadu. Well, hello and welcome to the Tequila Hour. It is Sunday. What am I saying? No, it is Sunday. It is the 19th of October. It's 2:35 in the afternoon here in Australia, New South Wales, in the motherfucking secret location. Hey, this podcast could be interesting. Just due to the fact that I'm working on 3 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep. If you haven't caught it, I just recently released at the time of this recording, I will be releasing later on today, Midnight, which is an episode that I just recorded at midnight. It's why I'm working on 4 hours sleep. Anywho, hey, if you've never been here before, this is basically just me, shooting the breeze, hanging out with my homies, myself. And just having conversations about shit I want to talk about, basically. So today I'm going to talk about being a muse. You'd be like, Amanda, what are you talking about? There's a reason why I want to talk about this. It's actually multi-pronged. Pulled that one out of my ass. Reasons why I want to talk about this today. But you know what I need to do first? You know what I need to do? I need to do some motherfucking admin. Let's go. Were you scared? No, you should be. Maybe?
Yay! Your call is very important to us. Please hold.
I pressed the, what do you call it, smash pad. I've forgotten my words. On my road because I wanted a sip of my Monster. I didn't realise that smash pad was quite short. Anywho. Yes, admin. First of all, what am I drinking today? I'm just drinking Peachy Keen, Ultra Peachy Keen Monster Energy Drink. Shocking.
Your password is incorrect.
Wrong. No. Yes.
Your call is very important to us.
I'm just hitting shit. Because I can. Yes, no alcohol today. I'll probably maybe partake in a drink this afternoon, but if I actually had a drink this afternoon while I did this podcast, I'd probably fall asleep. I don't really want to do that. That could be awkward for myself and for you as the listener. So, I'm having an energy drink trying to lift my spirits, shall we say, and hopefully the Monster will get me through. I'm sure it will do that. But how's my week been? Let's talk about that. It's been an interesting week. It was good. It was okay. It was normal. What am I trying to say? Sounds like I'm trying to be very diplomatic. Look, all in all, I had a good week. As always, and most people would attest to this, there's always a moment. There could be several. There was a couple of surprises. Things worked out in the end, or they seem to be aligning to in a certain direction, which is great. Had some great conversations. Received and gave some love, and all's well in the world. Sounds weird. All in all, shall we say, had a good week. That's life in work and outside of work. I do have some things on the boil. That sounds like such an old fart saying. I am old, but so perhaps I should start saying this. Things on the boil. Yeah, which I will not discuss in this podcast today because why? I just want to get straight into it. I do need to talk about this. Let me see if I can find something just to distract you. Not. Let's do that. Give me 1 second. That was funny. Yeah, that was weird. Yes, clearly I haven't used my smash pads for a while. Get over it. You will if you like listening to this podcast. Sometimes I'm on my shit and I'm on my shit. Other times, the lines are blurry. So today could be one of those days. I'm going with the excuse that I'm not drinking and I'm only having an energy drink. That's what I'm using as my excuse. Make your own. Anyway, I just got to get into it. I have to talk about this subject. There's 2 reasons why I want to talk about it. First of all, a muse. So I don't know if you know what a muse is. I will say, I will explain what a muse is by my understanding. And the reason why I bring it up is many years ago, as a young girl, I watched the movie Xanadu. Now, if you haven't seen it, so it's got the beautiful Olivia Newton-John, who has passed away, of course. She's no longer with us, either is Gene Kelly. It was just a fantastical, fantasy film, basically, in the 1980s. Lots of singing and dancing. Olivia was epic. Phenomenal soundtrack. If you're into it, ELO was on there. It's just, for me, I was born in the 70s and, in the 80s, you saw shit like this. I was in love with Olivia Newton-John. I thought she was the most beautiful girl, as in, well, there's other girls I liked, but I thought she was absolutely gorgeous. Probably why, if there's a hot girl with blonde hair, that's who I'm probably looking at. But she was beautiful, and she was one of the muses. And so she meets Sunny, and she's basically Sunny's inspiration. There's lots of roller skating around. It's very 80s. There's lots of whimsical outfits. There's lots of singing. There's dancing. Like I said, there's ELO. It's just the whole thing. The costumes, fantastic. Olivia is absolutely stunning throughout the whole movie in its entirety. Do yourself a favour. If you've never seen Xanadu, the movie, you'd probably like, Amanda, are you drunk? Actually, I'm not. I've already told you. I'm only drinking Monster Energy. But I am fired up about this movie. I've watched it, I don't know, maybe 10 times at least. I love it. And I remember, first of all, when I think the first couple of times that I saw it, that her name was Kira, and that's my daughter's name. No, I didn't call her after this movie, by the way. Yes, and she had roller skates, which were heaps cool, and I didn't have any. She wore this amazing outfit. She was had all these sisters, and they're all hot, and all dancing around in, sexy clothes. And she was cool. And that was the first time I'd heard of the word muse, as in M-U-S-E. And then throughout life, it's not, because it's a subject that's based, a muse is part of Greek mythology. We're not wandering around talking about Greek mythology in our day-to-day lives. But I just remember just being fascinated by the whole thing of Olivia. Let's not get it wrong. But also, this concept of this person, clearly helps that she was gorgeous, but this person who basically was like a catalyst or a conduit for a person to basically bring their dreams to life. And I thought that was really cool. So, apart from the whole movie, the soundtrack and all the rest of it, fucking awesome. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, just watch it. But what is a muse? You'd be like, I don't know. What is a muse?
Muse.
A muse, the noun is in Greek and Roman mythology, each of the 9 goddesses? That's a hard word to say. The daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne, is that how you say your name? Mnemosyne? It's Mnemosyne. I'm assuming the M is silent, so it's Mnemosyne, who preside over the arts and science. 2, a person or personified force who is the source of inspiration for a creative artist. So just like I was saying, in the movie Xanadu, Sonny was a painter and he just led a life and, for all intensive purposes, his life was boring and then, he runs into Olivia Newton-John. The rest is history. He falls in love. Shit goes down, lots of dancing, lots of singing. And she, as part of falling in love with her, she was his inspiration. He drew her, or he didn't draw, well, he did draw, and then he painted her on a record and she basically came to life and changed his trajectory of his life thereafter. So, so what does it mean to be called a muse? So to be a muse means to be a person or a thing that serves as a source of artistic inspiration for a creator such as a writer, painter, like Sonny, or a musician. So in the movie as well, Gene Kelly is the musician, obviously a lot older than Sonny's character. And I was going to say he plays the flute. He doesn't play the flute. He plays the clarinet. And it basically alludes that she was the same muse for Gene Kelly's character as is Sonny's character. So, because time is endless, apparently, when you're a muse, that you just don't help one person, you help all people, depending on, I don't know how that works, but anyway, that's how it worked in Xanadu. The term originates from the 9 goddesses, like I said, of the arts and sciences in Greek mythology called the Muses. While a muse can be anyone or anything that inspires, it is most commonly a person who provides creative ideas and motivation. So the origin, like we said, the modern term comes from the Muses of ancient Greek mythology, who were goddesses, that's really hard and sounds weird, believed to provide inspiration for the arts and sciences. Function, a muse provides a creator with ideas and helps them to create something, hence being a muse, whether it's a song, a painting, or a poem. A muse can be a person close to the artist, a historical figure, or even a beautiful landscape or object. Distinction from other roles. So a muse is different from a mentor who offers guidance based on experience, a teacher who provides instruction, or a creative partner who creates alongside the artist according to, I don't know, some joint, Cura? I don't know, some platform. A muse simply inspires. So inspires. They don't teach them or guide them. It just is a source of inspiration without trying to take over the creative process itself. So it's like, I know, the spark of light that then creates a person to create a beautiful song, or the beautiful, glorious mountain, then someone sees the mountain and out of that they create a beautiful painting. It's the source of inspiration, baby. And yeah, why I wanted to talk about, apart from, talk about Olivia, is I've then, like I said, that image of the movie, and like I said, being at that certain age in my life, and, it was just a cool movie. That, and a lot of people now, I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be like, fuck, Amanda, what are you doing, you weirdo? Yeah, it just, creates a fantastical memory in your mind when you're younger. So I've always then, throughout periods of my life thought about what a muse is, believe it or not. I don't know. I think it's just really cool. So when you talk about, like I just mentioned, people who inspire you. So it's interesting when it just mentioned in that statement, and I read that off Google, by the way, old Google, that yes, a muse and a mentor, they inspire. They don't, like I said, they don't take over the creative process. They create the spark to then have that process come into fruition. They might hang around and, I know, send moonbeams. I don't know how it works. But, they just inspire. And it's, like I said, there has been people in my life, I am going somewhere with this, that inspire me. Would I say they are a muse? Yes. There is certain people in my life. There's one person I'm thinking of in particular that, I'm not quite sure. But either way, that leads me into another conversation, and one person who definitely for me is 100%, is a muse. And she's probably a muse for a lot of people in the beauty and makeup realm. And that person is Danessa Myricks. And that's where I'm going to go to today. I'm just going to put on some music for a second. Bam, bam.
Hold on, let me take my time.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, Danessa Myricks. Why do I want to talk about her today? If you've been living under a rock, if you don't follow me on Instagram, which is the Tequila Hour, and I also have my personal page, which is the _1_Amanda, I recently purchased her latest release, which is Lightwork 7 palette. Now, I can go into the whole history of Danessa Myricks. It's warranted. Let me tell you that. But when I talk about inspiration, and for me, makeup is inspirational. It's inspirational. I have talked about my love of makeup. There's so many times, on the weekend where I look nothing further than sitting down, grabbing a drink, pumping up some sweet tunes and just playing with makeup and just having fun. I mean, sometimes, I'll put on makeup for work. I've talked about how empowering putting on red lipstick is for me. Something that I will do a lot, or even just putting on lipstick and nothing else. I find very empowering. Yeah, I love it. And makeup is very inspiring to me. And truly, we as people and I in the community, which is makeup and beauty, Danessa Myricks is off the chain, mate. Her story is unbelievable. And like I said, I'm not going to go into her story today, but I really just want to focus on her latest release being Lightwork 7, the Freedom Palette. As soon as I saw it on Instagram, I was going to say I shit my pants. Not literally. Figuratively, is that how you say it? I didn't literally shit my pants. Fuck, come on. But yeah, I didn't come in my pants. I was very, I was very excited. Okay, if you know, if you've ever tried, and God, if you love, for the love of God, if you love makeup at all, just do yourself a favour. Don't question it. Don't question me. Go and buy something from Danessa Myricks. I don't care what you buy. Just buy something, mate. But, yeah, if you can afford it, I could highly, highly recommend you buy one of her Lightwork palettes. And she has gracefully gratefully, she's created volume 7 and fuck, it's off the chain, mate. It's, I don't know how many podcasts ago, and I'll link it in the description of this podcast, just so you know. I did a previous podcast on her recent, how many months ago now, her Colour Fix sticks, which brought me to tears. They were that beautiful. And this palette is just amazing. So I'm going to go over some of the finishes. On Instagram, I will be releasing some pictures of the actual of the palette. I've lost my words. And some of the shades and things like that. I've talked about the palette itself being and I think I did that on the previous one, 6, the remarkable component that is the palette, that it's magnetic, it's stackable, they all come apart. There's so many shades, so many finishes, comes with its own little pouch, packaged amazingly. Yeah, there's just so much to report, and I just want to tie it into the subject of a Muse today, because for anyone who is into makeup, there's people that you would follow. I mean, let's say, back in the day, and still for a lot of people, Pat McGrath is truly an inspiration for them in regards to makeup. I know when I first bought my first Mothership palette and how stoked I was. It was fucking expensive, but how excited I was to actually have that as part of my collection, and honoured to have it. And I'm fucking honoured now because you can't get that formula anymore. So there you go. And, you think of your big artists that, probably majority visible on social media platforms. For myself, I mainly use Instagram and I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on TikTok or any other platform like Snapchat, etc. X. Yeah, so, artists like Natasha Denona, Danessa, Pat McGrath, and then you have all your indie brands, and then you have all your high fashion brands. But, yeah, for me, she's just very inspirational, clearly what she does. Her post, and again, I would probably implore you to follow Danessa Myricks Beauty and Danessa Myricks on Instagram to see some of the content that she puts out very regularly. I've never met her in real life. I probably, if I met her in real life, I'd probably start crying. I don't know. Yeah, because what she creates is just glorious. So to me, she is the epitome of a muse. For me, like I said, someone who creates, this work of art and gives it, the availability to the masses to then purchase that and then create your own art can only be deemed a muse, in my opinion. And that's the thing. It's not that, if you follow her and she has a university, online and stuff like that, and she often does tutorials, and, you can follow along and you can do the same looks that she has in print and post, etc. Yes, you can do that, but I honestly believe her products have just been created just to create the artist in you, to explore things that you want to explore by giving you such an array of phenomenal pigments and finishes. I can't speak. Finishes. And yeah, in amazing components and just innovative products, and she constantly surprises everyone with her innovation, and she's just leading the way. So there's nothing better when you like I said that day, and I was like, fuck, I saw it. And the one shade I saw it's called Mother's Love, which is a hyper shine metallic shade, and it's just a bright blue. And when I got the palette, like I literally bought it the day I think it was released, which was amazing because it was actually available in Australia, which is amazing. That, yes, and yeah, expedited shipping. I think I got it in a day or something ridiculous, and I didn't touch it until I was ready to use it. And that was one of the first shades that I put on my eyes. It's just a glorious, bright, pigmented, dark blue. Yeah, I could describe. Yeah, you know, again, just me describing what the shade looks like here on a podcast will not do it full justice to the beautifulness that is it. And yeah, so I wanted to give props, you know, and just talk about the palette today, just in line with who inspires you, who is your muse. You know, for me, I've talked about how important makeup is for me. It's a grounding thing for me. Clearly it is for Danessa, and, you know, she has what do you call it? The palette. You know, it's clearly for a lot of people, you know, that's that special time when they can just sit and relax and be creative and enjoy themselves and get lost in the art of makeup, let alone just creating a simple look or creating something that you've never done before. It's a very powerful thing, and yeah, something that I certainly now for the last couple of years really, you know, my collection's quite large, probably because I watch a shit ton of YouTube and beauty influencers. But it just, for me, it is an outlet for me. It is a creative outlet. Obviously, you know, there's the whole experience of, you know, seeing, buying and using and collecting. I would say I'm all of those things. Being of someone who, like I've said before, I'm still on the mission to find the most perfect lipstick. I have to say that Tom Ford one could be it. Yeah, which is phenomenal. Yeah, there's just so much to it. And then when you have the opportunity to use things like this and someone's making something that, you know, aligns with, you know, something that brings you so much joy. And, you know, a lot of people, it's interesting because to me, you know, as soon as I saw it, I knew I was going to buy it. The palette, that is. As soon as I really had to stop myself from using it till I was ready. It's that, you know, so good. If you're not a makeup person, and not every girl or boy or however you want to, we won't go there, but however, do you, boo. But yes, if you're into makeup, and some people aren't, a lot of people aren't, they don't understand that, you know, there's just, you know, they might be just putting on a bit of eyeshadow and mascara, or there's people who just, you know, are deeply passionate, excited, enthralled, yeah, obsessed even by, you know, shades and formulas and, you know, makeup artists and all these beautiful things that align to this creative space. So, yeah, I've, you know, that's, you know, I went to a trip in Bali all associated with this. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's these things that they all come together. And, yeah, I know that, you know, I speak to some people, you know, I wear lipstick pretty much every time I go to work. I'm not one of those people who are afraid to wear colour. I'll often have red. It's interesting where, you know, sometimes, and this is a thing, the interplay of, you know, you might have a quite sedate look, to me sedate, but, you know, just a very easygoing, easy breezy cover girl look, you know, nudes and just quite calm. Or you're out there, I'm happy to go out there. I don't need a situational instance to turn it right up or turn it right down. It's whatever inspires me, and that's what the Muse is, isn't it? Whatever inspires you. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Danessa Myricks' Lightwork 7 Freedom palette, recently reviewed because I saw the word review, that's why I said that. Recently released 10 groundbreaking finishes. We have a Hyper Shine Chrome Metallic, which is called Spellbound. 3 Hyper Shine Metallics, Enchanted, Mother's Love, that blue I was talking about, and Star Power. A Velvet Metallic called Northern Lights. Velvet Chromes, one's called Mother's Earth, or Mother Earth, I should say. Foil Flakes Chrome Open Heart. If you know what a chrome is, like they shift, it's probably the easiest way to describe it. For Foil Flakes Metallics, it's called Guiding Light. Again, just listen to what I'm saying in the words, okay? What she describes her colours. Elastin Multichromes, awesome. Golden Child and Love Potion, Chrome Toppers, it is called, not one, it's only one, Dreamer. Elastin Sheer Metallics, there's 2, Warmth and Wish. And then for the first time, which is fucking awesome, Soft Touch Mattes, Colour Accurate Mattes. So there's Sand, Rooted, Magic, Moon, Grounded and Toasted. So it's beautiful. There's just a absolute amazing mix of all those metallics, all those super crazy foils, like, you know, the shifty chromes, you know, the more I'll be honest, people would describe them as the more chunkier, flaky. They're so, like, it's hard to describe how absolutely gorgeous these eyeshadows are. The fact that, you know, and she's mentioned it herself where she listened to her customers. Hello, thank you. I didn't care. Actually, I didn't request this, but I'm happy she did. Having actual matte shades in these types of palettes to then, you know, use for transition or all over and then put the metallic or the chrome metallic or whatever over the top. It's just brilliant. Let alone the whole packaging. Let alone the fact that these products can be used multi-purposed as well. So with all her palettes, they can be used on the eyes, clearly, as eyeshadow, on the lips, on the cheeks, and on the face. So what do I mean by that? Some of the shades you can use as highlights. Some of the shades you could probably use as a blush. Some of the shades you can use as on your lips. Now, let me just premise this, that there is, and it's very clear, that some of these in this palette you can't just put on your lips because there is certain, due to the formulation and the dye or dyes that are in the product, but it does outline which ones on the palette you can and not put on your lips. So I actually have one of them on my lips today. This afternoon, right now, while I'm recording this podcast, I actually have the shade Gilding Light on my lips today, right now, as I'm recording, whilst I'm speaking to you. It's a lot. I don't know if I would wear it to work. I might wear it tomorrow, and because I'm working from home tomorrow, and people will be like, Amanda, what have you got on? It's high shine metallic, right? If you know, I have told you how much I love metallic lipstick. So, mate, bring it fucking on, I say. But, yeah, I'm loving it. So I put that on with a bit of a gloss over it. So, yeah, I'm living my fantasies here. And cheeks, face, yeah, it's amazing. You know, highlighters on your lips, on your eyes, like, mate, what do you need? What more do you fucking need? It's just glorious. On her website, and then I'm actually going to refer to Bedazzled, so bedazzled.com, which is an Australian merchant, Bedazzled Beauty. This is where I actually bought the Lightwork 7 Freedom palette from. they are an Australian distributor. I got it super quick and it was awesome. So the Lightwork 7 Freedom Palette captures the heart of Danessa Myricks' beauty. A decade of artistry, so 10 years, innovation and community distilled into one magnetic all-over face palette designed for artists and everyday dreamers alike. There's your Muse for you. It fuses iconic pigments with wearable versatility. 10 reimagined span soft mattes, luminous metallics, and prismatic finishes that shape, define, and illuminate with ease. All true, a word said. Each section is magnetic and stackable. It is inviting you to mix, match, and create without limits. So in this palette, there's 3 little mini palettes. That's the best way to describe it. It actually comes in a magnetic case, a clear top. This is how I'm describing it to you. Again, I'll put links in here in the description of the podcast so you can then look at what I'm talking about, because I'm just audible here, so not visual. Yeah, so there's 3 little mini palettes, so 6 pans in each. Each of those pans come out. Each of the little pan, the eyeshadow pan, comes out. It's fucking magnetic. Brilliant. You can swap them all around if you want. If you wanted to put all the mattes in one of those little pans, you can. If you wanted to put all the certain colour of all the pinks, for example. Or the other brilliant thing is that because she had the previous one, which is in the same component, you can just fucking go to town. I haven't done that. I might do that one day. Not right now because I'm just, still shit in my pants on how awesome it is. I don't want to mess with it. But this is the thing. If you wanted to take one of these little mini palettes out, or even you just wanted to use the mattes as an example, I don't know why you would just use the mattes. Weird. But people do. It also comes with like a little mirror that's on top of the component, which comes off. It's magnetic. So you can make one stack or you can make them all stacked together, and it also comes with like a little pouch as well. She's just brilliant. So this is the thing. When they're talking about all these different finishes, all these different shapes and, the ease, it's just made to just want to play. Each section is magnetic and stackable, like I said, inviting you to mix, match, and create without limits. The new colour accurate soft mattes anchor every look. So in each of those little 6 mini ones, there's a couple of mattes. While multi-dimensional metallics and chromatic shimmers add movement, light, and depth, which they do. It's the next chapter in artistry, made to mix, made to move, made for everyone. Mate. I'm going to go over the shades again. Shade description. Golden Child is an opal white with gold to green shift. Warmth, metallic copper with gold to pink shift. Sand, a neutral sandy beige matte. Enchanted, sexy. Smoky chartreuse. That's a beautiful word. Chartreuse. That's a nice word. With a bronze shift. Routed. It's not. It's rooted. Baked terracotta brown matte. Mother Earth is a forest green with an eggplant shift. It's fucking awesome, by the way. Love Potion white rose quartz with gold shift. Fucking awesome. I should have worn that on my lips today, but I didn't. Wish is an iced pink metallic gilding. I say gilding, it's guiding. Ugh. Guiding light is an antique pewter pink metallic. That is what I've got on my lips today. It's fucking awesome. The end. Spellbound magenta with an emerald green shift. Toasted is a toasted mauve. Or they say mauve on American. How do they say mauve? They say it weird. Mauve. Matte. Open Heart is an electric purple with a smoky green shift. Fuck yeah. Northern Lights is a smoky platinum. Bitch. I wish you could put it on your lips. I'm going to have to... did I put that on there? I think I just did it in a corner of my eye the other day. Literally, I just need to put that all over my eyes. It makes baby Jesus cry. Dreamer is aqua blue with periwinkle shift. How beautiful. Magic Moon is concrete grey matte. It's a fucking nice grey matte too, by the way. Mother's Love is a royal blue metallic. drop the fucking mic. It's hot. Grounded is Midnight Black Matte. It's fucking pigmented. Pigmented. Star Power is the final one, which is a molten silver with a dusty blue shift, mate. You can use your fingers, you can use a brush, you can swipe them around, you can put them on your eyes, your cheeks, your face. They are pressed powder formula, cruelty-free and vegan, infinitely wearable and magnetic stackable design, designed for eyes, cheeks and beyond. And then on the Bedazzled website, Bedazzled Beauty, which is fantastic, it actually gives a complete breakdown of each shade, which is unbelievable, which is fantastic. It also states, which shades, so, with the little asterisks, shades Sand, Toasted, Magic Moon, Enchanted or Enchanted, Mother Earth, Spellbound, Open Heart, Northern Lights, Mother's Love, Star Power, recommends, or basically says do not, to cover, just don't put them on your lips. If you do, that's on you, boo. Don't, because there is certain ingredients in there that contain lead, I believe, so you probably don't want to put that near your mouth. But this is the thing. Now, we could go, what else could we talk about? I mean, it's just fucking amazing, first of all. As on her site and on the Bedazzled Beauty page as well, it has some looks as well, which is fantastic. Some, inspiration, some Muse inspiration, shall we say. It's expensive, I'm not going to lie. If you have any understanding of eyeshadow formula and you're talking about metallics and multi-chromes and unique shades that no one else has, yes, they will be expensive. So the palette is $220 Australian. I think it's 128, yeah. So in US, that's 128 Australian. Our currency in US, suck balls. It's 220. Yeah, it's expensive. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. I've told you. No, I don't just go out and buy just expensive makeup. I would say to you, if I were, in reference to my beauty collection or makeup collection, that I probably do go more luxury or, designer, Chanel, Dior, blah, 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 Hermes. Louis, LV, just one, by the way. Tom Ford. Yes, probably you would say I'm a luxury beauty buyer, but I do also buy from indie brands as well. And I do buy from drugstore. I don't buy from drugstore all the time, like we're talking about Maybelline, Revlon, those L'Oreal, all that kind of jazz. Wet n Wild, Elf, where are we going with this? But, yeah, I like the fancier things in life. But, yeah, I'm not gonna disagree. It's expensive, $220 Australian for a palette, which is a phenomenal palette and phenomenal shades, where this is the thing, if you're not into... Look, I'd ask you to open your mind here. If you're someone who loves, and a lot of people do, we talked about, your sedated looks, as I call them. If you just wanted to go to the office, or you go in the office and you just wear, I don't know, a light brown, and you might just have a light brown or nothing and a bit of mascara and maybe a bit of eyeliner and foundation, which could be just a tint, maybe a bit of blush, maybe, then if you've never purchased something like this before, you might go, fuck me. This is like a lot. What do I do with this? Because they're not just standard eyeshadows, okay? They're not just a satin or a matte. They're, like I said, hypershine metallics. The metallics are chrome metallics. They feel different. They look different. They're bright. But the good thing with this palette, and good on her for doing it and listening, like I just said, to her customer base, is just by adding the 5 soft touch mattes, and they're gloriously easy to use, and if you were to choose, which would have been quite, I'd imagine, very difficult to choose 5 mattes to then align with, all these phenomenal sparkly shades that you sell, but then have them cross over into different of those little mini palettes as well. And her previous ones would have been extremely difficult, I could only imagine. And I'll give her a round of applause for especially Sand. I think that's a great shade. Magic Moon is a phenomenal grey. And Grounded, which is the black, it's off the chain. It's very pigmented, and so beware. But yeah, good on her for doing that, because she didn't have to, but she did, and I think it's a brilliant move that she did that. I'm only assuming. I mean, she has her, what do you call it? I'm looking at it. What is it called? Let me see. I want to get the right name for you, because I feel like I'm not giving it. Groundwork, thank you. Yes, Groundwork palettes. So she has 2 Groundwork palettes. One is a neutrals and one is a Chord Romance, which is more of the pinky shades that way. Think of, light pink and light mauve. Where your neutrals is, your browns, greys, black. She still has them, obviously. To have now mattes in this palette where, for me, I didn't mind going into, I have the groundwork neutrals. I didn't mind using that to go into, or use a plethora of the other eyeshadow palettes that I have that have neutral browns, for example, or blacks, etc., that I can utilise separate to this. I think, though, it's great that she did that, so that, those people who could be intimidated by just lots of bling, there is something to use as transition. There is something, if you didn't want to use all bling and you just wanted to use a bit of bling, just as, in the inner eye, or not in your eye, in the corner of your eye, or even, as a eyeliner, just a line across, just, look, she's just brilliant. And that's the thing, she's made it even more simple and easier, and she's the muse. She is a muse that then her products will see them, and I said an object can be a muse that will inspire you to be the artist that you want to be. May that be one day you just put some, of that matte, one of those mattes all over your eyes and leave it at that, or, the next day you use all 6 shades in one of those little mini palette things. This is the thing. It's just, makeup is fun. It's about play. It's just, for me, like I said, it's glorious. It's artistic. It's, it's everything and all encompassing. I certainly, like I mentioned, absolutely love just having some time on the weekend to, it's meditation, I suppose, is a way of thinking about it, getting lost in the beauty of makeup and design and creation. And you are the designer of your creation, and she is the muse by providing a palette that is fucking off the chain, mate. So, yeah, I just have to shout out Danessa Myricks and the Lightwork 7 palette. I will be releasing more images of the colours online. I should probably put them as posts, so that instead of reels or stories. Yeah, stories or reels? I don't know. I'll probably do a reel of all of them, but maybe do it as a post, so that I actually add in some information on there of the actual shade. That probably would be helpful. But anyway, in the description of the podcast, I will link the palette in Australia, the merchant I refer to, which is Bedazzled Beauty. I want to congratulate them for how easy they are to deal with. Their promptness, like I said, I ordered it in the morning and I think I got it the next day or the next day after. they're always on time. They're always super fast. I know last time I asked for a sample and they provided it, no issues. Yeah, they're really great. The palette itself, perfectly packaged, as always, being Danessa Myricks. But yeah, even additionally above that, bedazzled, make sure it comes to you safely, so which is fantastic. So, absolute 100% positive feedback for them who represent by selling Danessa Myricks products. And I was surprised actually that palette was available at release. I still remember back in the day, I don't know how many years ago, where she would release a new product and, it would take how long, how many months, a bit like Natasha Denona at the moment, where to actually have them in Australia. Obviously now Natasha's a bit different. I don't really want to talk about her today, but yeah, it's getting better, shall we say, for companies. We're not in America, so it is a lot better for a lot of these companies. We're in Australia, and I know we're so far away on an island, on a continent, that, once upon a time you'd have to wait ages and ages to get, your products, because, they get released in Sephora or whatever in America, and, they get released in Sephora here in Australia how many weeks or how many months later. So that's getting better, I have to agree. But yeah, I was even surprised that when I saw that it was being released, that the palette, the Lightwork 7, was released at the same time here in Australia. So props to Bedazzled. Yeah, so I got it very quickly. So super stoked about that. But I know that next week I'll probably do a look. I'm thinking of a particular look. I'm going to see what it looks like. I don't know, but I'm going to have some fun with that. So I'll probably play with Danessa more throughout this week. And I very much look forward to doing that. But yeah, like I said, I've got it on my lips right now, and I will post a picture of the shade that I'm wearing. And like I said, if you're into metallics, mate, fucking get into it. Get into it. Ismaya, thank fuck, came out with some phenomenal ones, so thank you. But yeah, it's great that you can use something both on your eyes and the lips. I think that's fucking phenomenal. So, a muse. Do you have a muse in your life? Like for me, like I said, I kind of alluded to someone who is, apart from Danessa, clearly she's a muse. Her products are inspirational. She's a muse. So, like I said, who knows if I would ever meet Danessa Myricks. Yeah, I'd be honoured to meet her in real life, or meet her person to person. We're both in the same lives, but living separate lives. I don't know what I'm saying now. I would be honoured to meet her. A lot of things that she posts about do resonate with me quite strongly. So I'd be super keen to meet her in real life or in person, however you want to say it. A muse as a person. It's interesting because it is clear that, a muse doesn't have to be just a person. It can be an object. For me, an example of a muse would be Mount Fuji. I'm very, Japan. How inspired I am by Japan, and, so many of those places that I visited in March of this year. And yeah, it was March this year, but March feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. So many places in Japan inspire me, and everything about Japan inspires me. So as a place, Japan's my muse. You could say that. In regards to a person, there is a person that I'm thinking of. I'm not going to say who it is. And it's interesting when circling back to that statement I made around, if it's a person, they're not a teacher, they're not a mentor, they inspire you. And this person does inspire me. Yeah, and they just do. So, and this is the thing, I I've always, and having a mentor is another discussion we could talk about in another day, someone who does mentor you, because for someone like myself where, I would appreciate the balance of having someone to be, not be tutored, is that the word? No, I won't say that word because I'm not saying it right. It's not coming out right. Yeah, to have someone in your life who is a mentor and is a point of reference, that you can bounce things off, etc. I clearly could see the benefits of that. If you are that kind of person, you're curious and you want to learn and you're on a journey of learning and discovery like myself, then, yeah, having a mentor, I can see the great benefits of having someone like that. Your mentor could be your best friend. This is where it comes down to, doesn't it? Your mentor could be your husband and your wife. I'd probably say to you it's more not one of those people, it's someone else. Then you go into things like life coaches, etc. But I think, yeah, it is a clear distinction, and I never really thought about it, but, yeah, it's the difference between having a mentor and having a muse. I mean, if you just sit here for a second and think of some of the items or some of the things, places and objects that inspire you, you can quickly come up with some. Then you think, when you sit back and think about it, to have someone who inspires you is an actual person, they would have to be a pretty phenomenal person. So this is a thing where, do you ever really know a person? I mean, some of their behaviours and attributes that you've witnessed, you would know them on a certain level. But, I suppose if I was then to go back to Xanadu and Kira, who is Olivia Newton-John in the movie, that Sonny, who's the male character, he didn't know Olivia. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know she was a muse to pretty much near the end. And, it all came out. And then he's like, no, don't go. I love you so much. Yeah, and, she stayed. Spoiler alert. Or did she? We don't really know. Because she wasn't there just for him. She was there as inspiration. And therefore, she's not tied to one person or one particular place. She is for all, a sundry. So this is the thing, again, I'm thinking about a person and I'm thinking about, is there anyone in your life that you would consider is a muse to you? Would you consider that person inspires you? Would you consider that person, not only inspires but has that spark that touches you in a certain way, may that be clearly in a creative way, is what we would suggest a muse is. But, yeah, I think, again, if we took out the whole mentor-teacher thing, which they're not the same, but you can easily see how they'd be relatable, that I'm sure most people would acknowledge someone in their life that brought them inspiration. Maybe it could be your favourite sporting person, sporting player, like, your favourite footy player or favourite tennis player. I don't know, whatever sport you follow. Swimmer. Weird. Yeah, I'm sure it could be like someone like that. A celebrity could be a muse for you. Clearly, people who, yeah, I'm sure their celebrities are muses for people, but I know they would be deemed that, but for me, I don't know, there seems to be that element of magic, not witchery, magic when I think of a muse, I suppose because I associate it with Xanadu, where she was she real? And she was just not a figment of his imagination, but she was like an angel in a way, where she just came into his life to inspire him, and then, she ended up well, which she shouldn't have, but I don't know. And that's the thing. It's that, being inspired by or having a muse like a sporting star or I suppose, then, do we even go there that your mum's your muse? My mum's not, but just side note, that having, your favourite celebrity or sporting star, player, whatever, in whatever game they play, is that enough to be warranted as a muse? When you talk about going back to Greek mythology and they were the goddesses of and daughters of Zeus. That's not just your everyday kind of person. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not your everyday kind of people. They clearly are above that. Even, so above it all that, they were in a way like angels and untouchable because they were so pure and, where they came from. I don't know. I'm kidding. Olivia's so pure. No, yes, that, to just a muse on earth just be a person. Can they just be your sporting star or Kim Kardashian? She only comes to mind because I watched a podcast of her yesterday. She's not a muse for me. Just let's make that clear. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I'm thinking a muse would be someone who not only sparks creativity but really has deep resonance with your creativity. But then thinking to myself, well, a kid who's in love with their favourite soccer player and they're inspired to play soccer, that love for that soccer player is just as real as, my admiration for a particular person that I'm thinking about. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just interesting. Where's that? Does it need to be included in this whole conversation? A muse is a muse. A muse inspires. It doesn't take over. It doesn't mentor. It doesn't teach. It inspires. And like I said, anything is then technically a muse. I don't know. I just think a muse as a person is just, they're not just a normal person. That's what I'm saying. They are top tier shelf. Yeah. And yeah, so I don't know. It has to be it would have to be, because I'm thinking about a particular person, it would have to be a truly phenomenal person who was a muse for you. But then what's phenomenal in the sense of if they spark inspiration and they align with you, then isn't that enough? I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, all I could say is, thank fuck we've got people like Danessa Myricks in the world that, is just coming out as she grows and expands and clearly, has the actual backing to then create the products of her dreams now. And I'm sure she's got more. Clearly she's that kind of person that, that. What's her muse? That's probably a really good question. Who is Danessa Myricks' muse or muses? She mightn't have one. It just might be just source for her or God. I don't know. But does she have a muse or muses that inspire her to create all these amazing things that she creates? And, 10 years and she's just getting bigger and bigger and creating more and more. So, like I said, thank fuck for someone like that in the makeup space who's just smashing it, mate, and coming out over and over again with some fucking amazing products that I hope it never ends, to be honest. Yeah, but yeah, I think I'll leave it there today. So do yourself a favour. If you have never bought Danessa Myricks before and you're interested in the Lightwork 7 or the catalogue that is Danessa Myricks, she has obviously other products apart from her palettes. then, yeah, if you're in Australia, highly recommend you check out Bedazzle Beauty and check out her products and, yeah, maybe do yourself a favour or take a chance if you've never bought anything like that before, and then you'll understand. If you love makeup, then you'll understand what I'm talking about, because really the pictures, however many pictures and videos and conversations, it will never do it justice than having it in your hot little hands and seeing the product in real life. I can't describe it enough how beautiful her products are. So, yeah, do yourself a favour and get some of them. And then, yeah, maybe have a think about, I think we can all recognise in our lives objects and places that would be considered a muse, that would inspire us to create. If you are a creative person, I suppose that is. But, yeah, taking that one step further and thinking about a person or people in your life that might be considered a muse to you, who do inspire you to create. I mean, is a muse even just not only inspiration, a source of inspiration, but in source of inspiration to, you know, find yourself, to find your spark, to become the person that you have always been. And, yeah, that's when I think of the movie, it's kind of like clearly he had talent, the character, that is, Sonny. But when Olivia came into his life, she was so powerful and such a spark of inspiration that, yeah, he changed, his life changed, his structure of his life changed. And, you know, that's how Xanadu the place, you know, watch the movie. But that's the thing. It was, you know, it's not even about, is it just having a muse or identifying a muse in your life about actually creating something? Or is it even just, you know, having that person who inspires you to inspire the spark in you to be the best version, or whatever you want to call it, that you are as a person? I think yes. I would say yes. I think a person who you would consider would be a muse. It's not just about creativity, but it's about, yeah, finding yourself and whatever that looks like for you. So anyway, I've got to leave it there because I can hear my husband rolling up on his motorbike. Yeah, so if you ever want to reach out to me, have a conversation or discuss a topic you'd like to discuss, you can contact me anytime via my email address being info@thetequilahour.com.au. Like I said, I'm primarily on, now that's a motorbike. You know how I was complaining about last night about motorbikes in the background? That's my husband's. Yes, I use Instagram to primarily promote my podcast, so the Tequila Hour, and my personal, which is the _1_Amanda, YouTube channels as well if you're interested. But yeah, it's now Sunday. It always was, but it is. Sunday, it's 3:46 on the 19th of October. Yeah, have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, whoever you're spending it with or whatever you're doing. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Bye.
Shades on, you could be my cheat code. Put in work, tell the DJ turn up it up. Black shades on, you could be my cheat code. Put in work, tell the DJ turn up it up. Tell the DJ turn up it up. Tell the DJ turn up it up. You could be my sweetheart.
Check. Had to take it out. Check. Check the sonics. Had to take it out. Had to take it out. Check. Check the sonics. Had to take it out.
Shades on, you could be my sweet card. Put your work, tell the DJ turn the beat up. Black shades on, you could be my sweet card. Put your work, tell the DJ turn the beat up. 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 You could be my sweet card. Tell the DJ turn the beat up.
Check the sonics.